and also the light bulb C. This topic, we talk about the parallel circuit. A parallel circuit is the circuit that the electrical components are connected on different paths, and each end of the paths are connected to same power voltage. The circuit, we may convert it to a layout from the left to the right. So, the current is about flow from the left to the right. Now, let's see how the current, voltage, and resistance varying in a parallel circuit. In the parallel circuit, current has more than one path to take. Here, we have two paths, path 1 and path 2. So, the current that flow out from the power source will be shared into each paths of the circuit. The total current that flow in the circuit is equal to the sum of currents that flow through every component in different path. Let's say, the current that flow out from the power source is I. The subcurrent from the current, I, shared to the path 1, is I1. The subcurrent from the current, I, shared to the path 2, is I2. For this, I is equal to I1 plus I2. At the other end of the circuit, I1 and I2 will merge again, to be I again. For this, I is equal to I1 plus I2. This scenario can be explained by seeing how the charges flow in the circuit. After a moment in the junction, 3 charges move to path 1. At the same time, 1 charge moved to path 2. Why more charges choose to go to path 1? Because bulb A at path 1 has lower resistance than the bulb B at path 2. After another moment, the 4 charges meet together again. About the voltage. In the parallel circuit, the endpoints of each paths is connected to the same power supply. It is endpoint 1 and endpoint 2. This causes that the voltage that across each of the paths is the same. About the resistance of the parallel circuit. The effective resistance in the parallel circuit is lesser than the resistance of each path in the circuit. For your recall, the factors that affect the resistance of a material. About the factor, the cross-section area of the material. When the cross-section area of material increase, the resistance of material reduce. When the path 1 and path 2 joined in parallel, the overall cross-section area is the sum of the path 1s and path 2s. Hence, the effective resistance is lesser than the resistance of each of the paths in the circuit. The effective resistance of the parallel circuit can be calculated using the formula 1 divided by Re equal to 1 divided by Ra plus 1 divided by Rb. 1 divided by Re equal to Ra plus Rb, and divided by Ra multiply Rb. Now, let's do the position exchange between the numerator and the denominator. Finally, we get Re equal to Ra multiplies Rb, and divided by Ra plus Rb. This topic, we will check up the advantages and the disadvantages of series circuit and parallel circuit. We first check up the advantages of the series circuit. In a series circuit, the current flow through each of the component is the same. Because there are only one path to lets the current flow through. And the current in each of the components can be easily controlled by using resistor. When a resistor is added, the effective resistance of the circuit increase. It will cause the current in the circuit decrease, and light bulb light intensity will be reduced. The second advantage is, all components can be controlled by using one switch. At which, when the switch is closed, a closed circuit is formed. And the current will flow through each of the light bulb. When the switch is opened, the circuit become an open circuit. No current will flow through the component. The third advantage of series circuit is, it saves on the use of wire and switch. And only one circuit loop is involved. Now, we talk about the disadvantages of a series circuit. If one of the components spoils, the circuit become an open circuit, and the other component do not function. For example, one light bulb in the circuit spoils, it will cause the circuit become an open circuit, and the rest of the light bulb will not light up. This is because the filament is considered as parts of the conduction route. When filament of the light bulb broken, the circuit become an open circuit. When an electrical component is added, the resistance of the circuit increased, and causing the current flowing in the circuit to decrease. The last disadvantage of series circuit is each of the electrical components cannot be controlled individually. Now, let's review the advantages of the parallel circuit. The voltage across components is the same as the supplied voltage. The increase in the number of components by adding the additional path. For example, the path 3 is added. It does not jeopardize the function of other components. When the path 3 is added, the current in path 1 and path 2 remain the same value, but the current from the source increase. Each of the components in the circuit can be controlled individually, at which each path of the circuit is installed with a switch. The third advantage is, if one of the component is spoil, the rest of the electrical components can still function, because they are still remain in a closed circuit. At this moment, the main current from the voltage source reduce, but the current that flow in path 1 and path 2 remain the same value. About the disadvantages of the parallel circuit. Many wires are used, if compared to the series circuit. The second, the power of cell decreases faster, if many components are connected in the circuit. When an additional component is added in parallel, the effective resistance of the circuit reduce, and more current will be withdrawn from the voltage source. When more current is used, more power will be consumed. This table is the summary of the topic. This topic is electrical wiring at home. The electrical wiring at home is an electric flow channel system. It functions to separate electric current to electrical equipment. From the diagram, the electricity is supplied from the supplier, and in Malaysia, TNB is the electricity supplier. In our home, the electricity is further separated to the electrical equipment through the electrical wiring. The electrical wiring is connected in parallel to the power supply to ensure the electrical equipment receive a full voltage from the main power supply. In Malaysia, the standard full voltage is 240 volt. It means that all the electrical appliances is connected to voltage 240 volt. The electrical wiring at home is controlled by power distribution panels. The power distribution panels control the current that flows from the main supply to each of the circuits. This is the reason why you able to see thick wire and thin wire inside the power distribution panels, at which the thin wire is for low current use, and thick wire is for high current use. For your common sense, what happen if there is a short circuit in the wiring system? When there is a short circuit in the wiring system, it will withdraw a huge current from the power source. When there is a huge current flow in the circuit, it will generate heat to burn up the cable coat and then cause a fire case. The short circuit can be caused by the faulty equipment. For the safety, a power breaker is installed in the terminal. Whenever the current increase to a value, the breaker will trip to cut off the supply. This is the full content of topic 2, flow of electric current in series circuit and parallel circuit.